2023 VinFast VF8 First Drive Review, testing Vietnam's first F4 America. We get to know the global juggernaut behind America's next carmaker and take its first product, an all-electric SUV, for a spin. In the wake of Tesla's industry-shaking success and the future promise of electric, autonomous mobility, would-be electric car companies are sprouting up everywhere. The floodgates have opened, with the last decade seeing more startups get off the ground than at any time since the dawn of the automobile. Most are already finding out the hard way that car building is a terrible way to make money. Developing and selling cars is a hugely cash-intensive business, and automobiles are the world's single most complex consumer goods, subject to the most numerous and varied global regulations and operating environments. It all adds up to a world where an overwhelming majority of intenders will fail, most without ever having delivered a single vehicle. Despite such dire conditions, if I had to place my chips on a single new automaker to escape the mire, it's Vietnam's VinFast. In fact, there's ample reason to believe the company won't just survive, it will likely shortly emerge as a global force, including right here in America. I say this after having flown to Asia to learn about the company and drive its first US-bound model, the 2023 VF8 electric SUV. My trip quickly turned out to be as much of a test drive of VinFast itself as it is of its forthcoming battery-powered compact crossover. While my very brief drive of VinFast's electric future took place in a pre-production prototype, you won't have to wait long to have your chance to buy a VF8, plans call for initial examples too. Vingroup Corporate Power. While CNET isn't normally in the habit of test driving prototypes from startups, there's ample reason to believe VinFast will buck the trend and find success. For one thing, this company has the financials to see things through. It's part of Vietnam's Vingroup, a mega-corporation that owns and operates dozens of businesses, including luxury resorts, amusement parks, hospitals and even massive housing developments that are more like small cities, replete with skyscrapers and malls. More to the point, Vingroup also appears to have a slew of helpful related technologies in its portfolio, including divisions focused on AI, cybersecurity and cloud computing. The organization even built a new university from scratch to cultivate homegrown talent. All of this illustrates that not only does this company have the resources to become a global automotive player, it develops businesses at a breakneck clip. At 28 years young, Vingroup is barely out of corporate adolescence. Given VinFast's damn the torpedoes corporate pace, it should come as no surprise that the two VF8 prototypes I'm testing are decidedly unfinished. In fact, they're not even operating on the same development software versions, and many of the vehicle's software functions don't. Combine that with a makeshift drive loop that's perhaps a couple of kilometers long, and it's all but impossible to draw concrete conclusions about whether or not this EV belongs on your shopping list. Having said cabin tech and features. Inside, the VF8 is clearly a modern EV. Its dashboard is dominated by a landscape-oriented 15-inch infotainment touchscreen. There's a color head-up display, but notably, there's no traditional gauge cluster. You either look at the HUD or glance at the main screen to see how fast you're going. The center console is dominated by a push-button gear selector, and the three-spoke steering wheel's most noteworthy feature is a tiny driver-facing camera atop the column, a hint that VinFast plans to offer some kind of hands-free driving assist. It's too early to judge the VF8's fit and finish, as there are some pre-production and ill-fitting parts in evidence, including a power seat controller wired in reverse. It's worth noting that VinFast is hinging much of its success on its ability to offer a full range of connected services and infotainment features, including everything from a Sentry mode and an e-commerce tool to the ability to play games and videos on the center screen. Sound familiar? These features are not functional in the test vehicles I'm sampling. Further, Attempts to cajole the voice control into opening and closing the panoramic moonroof meet with limited success, and when I tell the virtual assistant I am cold, it raises the temperature by a single, miserly digit. A subsequent attempt sees the system jump directly from 65 to 90 degrees. If VinFast delivers all of the conveniences it claims it will, the VF8 ought to have an extremely power and performance. Power and performance. VinFast will build two VF8 models, with dual motor plus trims like the ones I'm sampling, delivering up to 402 horsepower and 457 pound-feet of torque. With standard all-wheel drive, official estimates call for 0 to 60 mph time of 5.3 seconds, quick, but about a half-second shy of what we've seen from the aforementioned Tesla and Hyundai models. A lower-power eco model with 348 horsepower promises 60 mph in 5.9 seconds. My drive is limited to quick acceleration blasts up and down a road between factory buildings, with a U-turn on one end and a keyhole loop return on the other. Signage suggests our tests are to be capped at 80 km/h, 50 mph, but the engineer sitting in my passenger seat allows me to go far more quickly, touching 100 mph before braking hard into the left-handed keyhole. Being an EV, acceleration is predictably smooth, but with 19-inch Goodyear Eagle touring tires under load in the final turn, the steering's power assistance has brief moments where it feels oddly non-linear. Further, regenerative braking was notable by its absence. VinFast engineers say a one-pedal drive model is under development and will likely be released to early vehicles via an over-the-air update. I also noticed inconsistencies in power levels between the two test vehicles, likely attributable to different software versions, and at least one other media member reported a momentary total loss of power during their test drives after coming off the brakes. These sorts of pricing and range. Strangely, VinFast plans to release two different battery sizes in both its Plus and Eco variants. I say strangely because the separate ranges and prices aren't well differentiated. For the base Eco battery version 1, the company is targeting 260 miles on Europe's Marlini and WLTP test cycle at a cost of $40,700, plus a yet-to-be-determined destination fee. The enhanced range battery version 2 Eco is slated to deliver 292 miles for $41,000, just $300 more. The more luxurious, and consequently heavier, VF8 Plus is expected to achieve 248 miles of range in battery version 1 guys, $47,700, and 277 miles in its $48,000 battery version 2 spec. U.S. mileage estimates on the EPA's more stringent test cycle figure to be somewhat lower. While VinFast has yet to disclose exactly how large the Samsung-sold packs are in the battery version 1 models, the larger packs are 90 kWh. On a DC fast charger, version 1 models can go from 10% to 70% full in 24 minutes, while vehicles with the larger packs take 31 minutes. Batteries not included. There's one other key point regarding the batteries mentioned above: you pay extra for them. VinFast will become the first automaker in North America to offer cars with a separate battery lease/subscription and charging plan. Because batteries are the biggest fixed cost in EVs, the company is betting that by subtracting the cost of the pack, it will be able to make pricing more attractive. Officials also hope to temper. As you can plainly see, there's a lot of promise in the 2023 VinFast VF8, but there's also a lot of work to be done, and that's before taking into account the company's ambitions around advanced driver assist systems. The VF8 spec sheet calls for automatic lane change and summon tech among other advanced skills. It will be interesting to see if officials can reach their self-appointed on-sale deadline, and it will be telling if the company manages to deliver a quality product right out of the gates, with or without most of the features it's promising. Of course, simply delivering those vehicles on time isn't enough for a company with VinFast's vast ambitions. Not by a long shot. Even before the company has sold a single vehicle in the U.S., officials have already announced plans for a multi-billion-dollar EV plant and battery factory outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. The brand quickly followed this news by disclosing it has filed for a U.S. IPO. It will be very interesting to watch this new company from Vietnam as it finds its footing in the U.S. If VinFast can manage to tick all of these items off its to-do list in anywhere near their promised time frames, I humbly suggest it considers renaming the company VinFaster.